gosh. Okay. I have not gone live in a few weeks because I've been traveling and I'm about to travel again. I'm literally in the middle of getting dressed. I just washed my hair. I am putting hair stuff in and throwing on my clothes and putting makeup on because I'm going to the Platinum eWomen Network conference that's happening here in California. So I'm just going to drive over two incredible programs that I'm going to be running. And I just wanted to share some thoughts that came up for me really quickly. As you notice, I typed in here, who am I to do this? And if you're anything like me, you may have asked yourself that question about several things. I've asked myself questions like, who am I to charge this much? Who am I to be charging $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 to work with me? Who am I to declare out loud that I'm the best in the world at? And if you've followed me for any amount of time, you know, when I run my 6-figure sales crash course twice a year, we always do something with that prompt and it rattles you a little bit. If you've ever asked yourself the question, who am I to make this much money when there's so many people who are struggling in the world in lack and sometimes in starvation, and you get, a little bit of angst about it. Who am I to make more than my partner or my family members? All things that I've had to overcome in my life in order for me to get to where I am right now and for me to go to where I'm trying to go. Who am I as a Black woman to charge people this much money? If you know anything about my story, again, that one of the biggest thoughts that I had to overcome was this thought that I had in the back of my mind that little Black girls from the hood don't make that kind of money, that much money, whatever that kind of money is for you. And at every level, I have to overcome that. Again, it actually creeps back in, which is very, 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 very interesting. Who am I to shift generational curses? If generation after generation after generation of my family has been going through this, what makes me think I'm going to be any different? Right? Who am I to be the first to make millions? Who am I to establish generational wealth 10 generations deep? Who the hell do you think you are, Shameca? And like I said, if you've ever asked yourself that question about anything that you're trying to accomplish in your life, you're in the right place. And I just want to share my perspective on it and what I'm going to be doing to support you with overcoming that. Here's the deal. I have not always had the courage to stand powerfully in who I am and own my journey. All of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the exciting, the not so exciting, the hurt and the hurtful parts of it, the harmful parts of it. My journey has been long and it has been deep. And I was actually having a conversation with a friend the other day while I was at a retreat that I was at. And we both had this consensus that with the things that I have been through in my life and overcome, the reality of it is I should not be the kind of person that I am. I could easily be sitting in a padded cell somewhere sucking on my thumb. That is the truth. But I chose different. I decided different. And that's why I am who I am today. That's why I'm excited about life every day, because anything that I face today is nothing compared to what I've been through in my life. I haven't always given myself permission to be profitable in my business. And I'm sharing this from my perspective because I know that sometimes people look at me and what I'm accomplishing now and they're like, that's easy for you. Or maybe you're in that situation now and you can't see how it's going to be different than it is today. I didn't always allow myself to be profitable. Sometimes I was sabotaging myself every step of the way. Like somebody famous would reach out to me and say, I heard that you're good at this and I want to work with you. And I'd figure out a way to not call them back or not complete the job because I was having an internal subconscious value conversation about who I be in the world. I haven't always given myself permission to be confident in my ability to be a difference maker in the lives of other people. I would always look around and go, so-and-so is teaching the same thing that I'm teaching and they're doing it better, or they have a larger audience. So maybe it's just kind of better that people go to them, and it's okay if people go to them. And what I've realized along the path of this journey is that there are people to whom I am their answer to prayer. We have a divine appointment. There is a divine assignment. And they can be with person upon person. They can mentor with people. They can coach with people. They can go to other people's programs and never quite create the types of results that we create when we lock arms and come in covenant agreement with each other. I know that now, but I haven't always given myself permission to be that in the world. Just like many of you, if you're struggling with this right now, I've discounted my rates. I've downplayed my own life experience, my skill set. I've whispered in the marketplace quietly while proclaiming to myself that I was one day going to have $1 million business, all the while hiding in plain sights. I've taken my own gifts for granted. Oh, that's just easy. It's just something that I do. All for fear of possibly hearing the question, who does she think she is? But today, though, there is a reason that for many, many years, my highest level program, my next level authority mastermind, was capped at 8 to 12 people for years upon years upon years. And even when I had an awareness of why it was capped, there was at least 2 years that I allowed it to be so because I knew that I was not deciding, I wasn't ready to allow myself to expand at that level. I had a story, and that story was, if I grow this thing beyond 12 people, it's going to lose its power, its potency, its relevancy, its capability to transform people. And because that was a decision that I made, it stayed small. I stayed small. And today, we have over 50 people in that program. And its potency, it is just as potent as it ever was when it was a small container. What needed to expand was me. What needed to expand was my mindset and my belief, my ownership of who God put me on this planet to be. And here's the thing. You may be one of these people. People are quite often always asking me, Shameca, how did you do that? How did you go from only having 8 people in your mastermind last year to now having over 50 just 4 years later? I said last year, 4 years ago, and now having over 50. And I can map out all the things that I've done. People always ask me, how do you do it? And I can list out all the ways and things that I've done, the strategies that I've used. I can do that. There is strategy, but there's so much more to this. A lot of what I had to do, and this may not be true for everybody. There may be people, there may be those of you who have the inside game on track, but you need the outside game. But here's what I know. Most strategies work. If the strategies aren't working, it's typically not necessarily the strategy. It's not typically the strategy. It is typically who we're being while we're doing the strategy. And so there are people who always ask, how do you do it? How do you do it? And really, that's rarely the right question to ask. It's not in the how. It's not in like, what are the steps you took to get yourself to the place? How did you achieve it? How can I do it too? I get asked these questions all the time. And here's what I want you to understand. If there was a way, if there was like a one way, if there was like the one thing that we could just do, and success was based on that, based on doing a thing, everybody would be doing it. Everybody that's working hard would have everything that they desire. But that's not the world that we live in. I want you to think about it this way. This is the question I want you to ask yourself. How is it that one person can get a strategy, 2 people can get the same exact strategy, right? A system works perfectly for one person, but then it doesn't work at all for another person? How is that the case? Here's how. Because it isn't about what we are doing. It isn't in the doing. It's in who we are being while we're doing it. The switch that flipped for me was everything that I started talking about at the beginning of this understanding of who I be in the world by God's design, right? Everything I do in my business is like breathing air to me. I can just do it. I don't have to go to somebody else and say, what's your strategy for this? I don't have to do all those things. And I do have lots of years of strategy under my belt. I do have a business degree. So I'm taking what I've gotten over my lifetime and then stepped into the authority, my God-given authority, to do the work that I do. Just like I breathe, I do this work. I want you to think about this. The things that I do in my business, yes, they work right now. But they work because of who I have become. The actions that I take, the successes that I am now experiencing, and I want you to lean in and listen, because take this for yourself. Everything is now in alignment with the frequency in which I resonate on. Remember how I said I'm showing up as who I be by God's design. We each have a vibrational frequency on this planet, one that was given to us before we even drew in our first breath. Now I work in alignment with that. Another thing people always ask me is, do you really feel like anybody can do what you do? Anybody can have $1 million business? Here's the thing. The truth is this. From the bottom of my heart, I honestly and truly believe that you can, that everyone can. But I know this, not everybody will. And here's why. Here's why not everybody will. Before you and I, before we all get to the place where success seems to come with less effort, effortlessly, right? Before we get to the place where it's like, if I blow on this thing, if I post the thing, then people will show up. Because people come into business and they think, oh, it's just going to happen overnight, right? Before we get to that place, before we speak and people actually respond or listen to us. I did a post today. I just woke up this morning and said, let me put this out there because I know that this class is coming up and I want to let people know it's coming so they can prepare for it. And then I'll make the announcement and invite people into it. And I don't know, we're at maybe 70, 80 people who've already raised their hands. I haven't even had a chance to respond. I'll start doing that tonight. So if you're somebody who responded to me, I will be messaging you over the next day or two. However, there was a time not long ago where I'd do a post like that. And it might be my mom, my aunt, a couple of clients, a handful of people, 5. You can go back a couple of years, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But what's different about me and someone else is I never stopped, right? So before we get to the place where we speak and people listen, where it seems like success just shows up, like when you make an offer, people are purchasing, before people care, before what you are doing actually begins to work, this is what needs to happen. There is a shift that happens in every client that I help achieve success, 100K months, their first 10K months, all of those things. It's because they must become a certain kind of person, the leader, the person who can have and expand and do. Who we are must shift. How we behave, what we believe must change, right? Again, there is a shift that has occurred within me. There's a shift that has occurred within every person that I have helped shift into 6-figure years and 6-figure months. I have watched it. I have seen it. I have felt it. And that shift is self-actualization. It's a personal power, a radical ownership of who they be. And it changes their frequency. It changes the very energy that's around them, the atmosphere that's around them. Watch, you can see it, right? I can name off several clients right now and you'll be like, wow, yeah, I remember that shift, right? It happens every time, over and over and over again. And then in a moment, everything around them feels completely different. And their business begins to respond to that change. Their business begins to respond to that change. The work that I do is about creating an environment where your standards for yourself are elevated. Not just your standards for money, not just your standards for success, but your standards for your love of life, laughter, joy, influence, your communication with people, the gratitude that you have in your life, the way that you look at and allow miracles. We're looking at all of those things. I know that only 2% of women business owners ever cross $1 million. And I'm on a journey to help millions do that. And the how is going to be in these unseen, unspoken pieces of how we shift the paradigm for what we believe is true about money. This is a journey of personal mastery, emotional mastery, personal power. It's about learning to be the leader of oneself. And if you're a person who has been constantly looking for the how to do the thing, can I tell you, love, that you are searching in the wrong place? I did it for a long time. See, I wasn't one of those people who started a business and within the first 3 years, 1 year, 2 years, crossed $1 million. I've been at this for 12 years. It took me 12 years to cross the $1 million mark because I was stubborn about this journey. I've always been a doer, a go-getter. I'm driven. I'm focused. I'm an action taker. And I thought that action was what was going to get me where I needed to go. It wasn't until I began to master these principles that everything began to shift. The majority of people, which is why they don't succeed, are always looking for the magic pill, the how, the Cliff Notes version of how to get there, the shortcut, the quick way. And there is a way to speed up time, because here's what I know. It took me 12 years and I've watched clients hit their 500,000 mark. It took me 10 years to get there, right? 10, 11 years to hit 500K in my business. I've watched clients do it in 2 years with me. I watched them hit multiple six figures in 1 year. So it took me long, so it doesn't have to take you that long. But there is a level of personal mastery that must happen. So here's what I'm doing. I know that I'm not here to serve everybody. So for me, it's not about like me putting an offer out there and saying, hey, you got to be in this class. When you know that you're assigned to me, you know that you know that you know. And so this year I decided to do a thing. I have never sold like small master classes. Anything that I would do, I typically always do it for free. But I know that this is a part of the work that I want to put out there in the world for people, whether they're business owners or not. And so this year, I have decided to do a series of different micro courses that are ranging anywhere from a couple of days to a full day to a full week and a month where you can work with me. And so there's 2 that are coming up that I want to mention today. The first one is the second in a 2-part series that we started last October called Accelerated Overflow. Part 1 of Accelerated Overflow, we spent 2 days together, actually 3 hours over 2 days. So 3 hours day 1, 3 hours day 2. We're going to do the same thing for the second one. The first installment of Accelerated Overflow was called The Speed of Wealth. The Speed of Wealth. This time is called Next Level Receiving, and there's 2 parts to this series, okay? When you invest in Accelerated Overflow, and I'm going to do a thing, but when you invest in it, you are going to automatically get 3 bonuses. The first bonus is going to be Accelerated Overflow Part 1. So you're going to get access to the Speed of Wealth. And you're going to be able to watch those 2 modules at any time that you want to. And you get lifetime access to those as well. Plus, you'll get the 2 modules with us. And I believe that we're doing them March 22nd and 23rd, 3 hours each day, going through the Speed of Wealth. The other bonus that you're going to get, so you're going to get Accelerated Overflow Part 1. You're going to get my wealth activation audio. So I got a download from God that I need to start creating these audios, and they're going to morph over time into something different. I just got to have this feeling. If you don't know this, I'm a worship leader. I've been a worship leader since I was 13. I got a hit that some of that needs to come into, like my singing needs to come into these. This one doesn't have that, but you're going to get access to the first in the series of these wealth activation audios that I'm going to be doing. And this one is called The Frequency of Possibility. So you're going to get access to the Frequency of Possibility plus Accelerated Overflow Part 1. You're going to get your seed in Accelerated Overflow Part 2. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to open the doors to Accelerated Overflow. I'm not going to give the link right now, but if you want it, you want information about how to get access to it, just type overflow. I'm going to be coming back to this audio, to this video, and watching it. For those of you who will be listening on the podcast, we'll make sure that you have the link to actually purchase from there. We're going to be increasing the price over time. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to be increasing the price. It's just going to happen, but it's going to start low and it'll end up around $1,100. So if you wait, you will pay $1,100. That's just how it goes. Why do I do that? I saw somebody post the other day something about like they thought it was irresponsible for people to heighten people's, I don't know what system in their body they were talking about by like giving them dopamine hits or scaring them with raising prices. That's not what this is about. What this is about you learning to trust yourself. When you have a knowing that something is for you, you must move and move quickly because it will pass you by. I had to learn that for myself. Now I make decisions quickly. I move quickly. I invest quickly. I've cultivated a trust in myself where what happens is I no longer have to give my power away to something else, to someone else. I watch people all the time defer all their power to the coach that they're following, the gurus that they follow, and they can't think for themselves or trust the knowing inside of them of what's good and what's not good. And so I want to cultivate that even before you step into a container with me. You are a leader, and the first person that you are leading is yourself. You're the first person in line. You have to get in line first before anybody can get behind you. And what I see oftentimes is people trying to lead, but they don't think the requirement starts with them. You're wagging your finger at other people, yet not taking your own medicine. And the reason why is because you only trust you if someone else is trusting you, or you've deferred that power to someone else. And so instead of giving you like the date is this time when it's going to go up, when it's time for you to move, you need to move. Okay. So if you just type overflow into the chat, I will make sure that you get to the details for that class. The next class that's coming up, we're doing accelerated overflow in March. In April, I am doing a class called Giants, and Giants will change your life. Giants is about the process that I've taken myself through to own who I am in the world. And while it may sound to some arrogant to call myself a giant, I am under no disillusion or disillusionment, I don't know which one is right, about who I am in the world. Giants, probably you if you're listening, I want you to get this picture. It's those of us who step into a room and are who we are, it just encapsulates almost everything. And it's been that way since you were a child. And over the years of your life, this is what I did. I shrunk. But I didn't just shrink because I'm still big. I'm still her. I'm still her. Have always been. But I would pretend. So if you can imagine this, being in a land, in a world where there's giants that exist, and all of those giants just crouched over, walking amongst regular, normal sized people, going, I hope they don't see me. That's you. And I want to show you how to stand tall and not have any conflict with anybody about who you are in the world and the knowing that you have about the power that you possess, the gift and the brilliance that you are to others, so that you can go about your business, so that you can go about living your purpose on this planet free of all the little things that you've created to make other people comfortable. And so Giants is going to happen in April. I want to put that on your radar because we're going to circle back around to it. But if you know that Giants is for you, go ahead and type Giants. And again, we'll make sure that you get on that list and you're one of the first people to know. Here's the deal. I believe that there's a level of abundance that's released on the earth right now. And that is coming. That is unprecedented. And it is available to you and to me, to all of us, if we are ready, right? If we're open to receive, if we allow I went through a cycle of abundance and a time of abundance before, and I wasn't open to allow it to come in. I don't want you to miss that opportunity, right? Wealth is shifting. The paradigm about wealth is shifting. It's shifting to women. It's shifting to people of color. It's shifting. And you can either choose to stay what you are, or you can expand and shift with it. A rising tide lifts all ships. I'm going. And so if you want to be in the wave, you type overflow. We start there, right? That abundance is available to us all. And it's not only available, it doesn't have to take you 10, 12, 15, 20 years to get there. Everything can shift for you like that. Because it did for me, right? There was the long journey of getting there. And when it changed, baby, it changed. And every day, every year, I'm like mind blown at the miraculous way that wealth flows to me. And that is why I'm teaching not just overflow, because people will teach you how to have a life overflowing. But if I could preach a little bit, the word of God says, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Not only that, it's not just the overflow. It is an accelerated manner in which you can allow it to come to you because it's all there. Are you open to receive? That's what I'm going to teach you. Next level receiving, accelerated overflow, part 2. Again, just type overflow. You're going to get both with this one single investment in the program. And again, we will be reaching out to everybody between today and tomorrow, try to get through all of them. If not, it may take me 3 days because there's a lot of you guys reaching out. All right, I got to go finish getting dressed. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope this inspired you. I don't even know how to say it. I have such gratitude, but the honest truth is my life is barely recognizable. And so I know what's possible. I know what's possible. And what I want to do is lock arms with you, take you on a journey to get to what's your impossible. What do you think? What once was impossible for you is definitely doable. And I hope that I'm being living, breathing possibility. That's it. That's all I can do is be me, do me, and share the journey, which isn't easy, right? Talking about the money that comes into my life and what's happening in my world. It isn't always even easy, but I choose it because I know it's my purpose. So I'm excited for you, for those of you guys who are going to join us at Accelerated Overflow and even Giants. And I'm going to try to go live a few times. Oh, I forgot. The one other thing that I'm going to do to support you. So for those of you guys who can't invest, it's okay. I always try to do something to support. My free stuff is like even as incredible as the stuff that you pay to be in. And that is just something God told me to do way early on. And so I am going to be doing a series interviewing the giants in my life. You're going to get to talk to clients who have been in similar situations as you all throughout the month of March and April leading up to the Giants Masterclass. That's all I'm going to be doing. We're going to tell you the real about what this journey looks like, the real beliefs they had before they started. And just like for me, it's not easy for them. They're leaders in their own right. So they're going to stand in front of you and tell you the truth about how they got to where they are so that you can see how possible it is for you as well. So I'm excited to do that Giant series with you guys as well. That one will be completely free. And so we'll probably start the first one next week, and we'll be doing a few of them every single week. So I'm excited to lead you guys on this journey, leading through this whole process of allowing yourself to be the giant that you know that you are. Okay, I'm going to take off. Have an incredible day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my show, my channel. Here's what I want you to do. If you really love what you've been listening to, I want you to subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. No, really, leave a comment. Like right now. I'm not gonna stop talking until you leave a comment. Seriously, leave a comment.